He said, Abu Khadeejah said, you don't know how to establish Iqamatul Hujjah. Unbelievable. Because when it is that he called Tahir White a Kadhab, he could have established Iqamatul Hujjah. When he spoke about Ibrahim al-Ruhaili and Sultan al-Eid, Sheikh Ibrahim al-Ruhaili and Sheikh Sultan al-Eid, he could have established Hujjah. So is it that he could have established Hujjah some years ago? He could have established evidence some years ago, and he can't establish it now? Really? Could he establish it years ago, at an older age, having more wisdom and more knowledge, that he cannot establish it right now? Or is it that he can't establish Hujjah because he opposed the statement of Sheikh Rabi? Of course, the first one doesn't make any sense, and the second one would just expose the blind partisanship to Sheikh Rabi, without doubt. He said, you don't know how to implement those principles that you claim that you are using of Jarh wa Ta'dil and Ilm al-Rijal and books of Hadith. That's a point to note, right? Now, in terms of Jarh wa Ta'dil, and I mentioned this in the book Breaking the Chains, a qadi or a judge in a courtroom, he uses Jarh wa Ta'dil. Meaning, in other words, he uses it to have knowledge of who is a good witness, who's a trustworthy witness, and who's an untrustworthy witness. Okay? And this was written in the book Manar al-Sabil, which is an explanation of Dalil al-Talib, in terms of who the Qadi disparages and appraises in the courtroom. Likewise, the scholar of Aqidah, who understands and implements and has knowledge of the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and who understands the conditions for calling a person an innovator, and the prohibitions or that which prevents a person from being called an innovator, he could establish tabdir. He could establish tabdir. He could establish that a person is an innovator or not. This is where Aqidah meets with Jarh wa Ta'dil. And likewise, in terms of a person's practice of deen or whatnot, where the Qadi would practice that part of Islam where it is that he would judge whether a person is a trustworthy witness or not. This is where it meets with the science of Hadith. Okay? So, Jarh wa Ta'dil is not exclusive to the scholars of Hadith, but it could also include the Qadi, the Islamic judge, and the scholar of Aqidah. I just wanted for people to take note of that. Okay? So a scholar doesn't have to be a muhaddith to make Jarh wa Ta'dil. He could be a scholar of Aqidah and clarify that so-and-so is upon innovation, and so-and-so is not upon innovation. Or he could be a Qadi, a person who's a judge in a mahkamah, in a court, and say so-and-so is an acceptable witness, and so-and-so is not an acceptable witness. But it's just that these two things, when it comes to the science of Hadith, it comes about with other things, okay? In terms of deen, in terms of muru'ah, in terms of one's manners, etc., like that. All of this comes into Jarh wa Ta'dil, in terms of a person's memory, if he has good or bad memory, if it is that he's a fasik, all these things. Tayyib. So he goes on. Yes, you have ilm. Yes, you have knowledge. But you don't come close to Sheikh Rabi. Or even Sheikh Ubaid. You don't, and you know you don't. Because he is the Imam of Jarh wa Ta'dil. And he is a muhaddith. Okay, so because he is a scholar of Jarh wa Ta'dil and a muhaddith, does that mean that his statements are immune from criticism? does that mean that his statements are not to be weighed according to the principles of the Sharia? Does it mean that? Yahya ibn Ma'in was a scholar of Jarh wa Ta'dil, as well as Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj, as well as Ali ibn Madini, as well as, and we could name plenty from the Salaf as-Salih. So because they were A'imma, and they are called the words A'immatul Jahri wa Ta'dil, the Imams of Jarh wa Ta'dil. The Imams of Jarh wa Ta'dil. So because they were Imams, and because they were Muhaddithin, were their statements still weighed according to the principles of Al-Islam and according to the principles of Jarh wa Ta'dil itself by the likes of Ibn Hajar, Al-Dhahabi, and Al-Albani? Or was it that their statements were in fact beyond? So likewise, although Sheikh Rabi is a scholar of Jarh wa Ta'dil, is it that his statements are beyond criticism? Or is it that we must weigh his statements according to the principles of the science of hadith? Because if it is that we have to weigh, if it is that the scholars have weighed for centuries the statements of the scholars of Jarh wa Ta'dil from the Tabi'een and those who follow them, then what would exempt Sheikh Rabi, who lives in this time, from his statements being scrutinized? So he goes on. Wallahi, if you believe Sheikh Rabi is wrong, then you don't know Sheikh Rabi. And you did not know Sheikh Rabi in the 90s and the 80s. ... Now what he spoke about, how Abu Hakim knows a few books of Sheikh Rabi, about 90 of them, and he knows about 30, something like that. So that wasn't important kalam. Now, this here is the kicker here. This part of the excerpt of the speech of Abu Khadeejah, this is the kicker here. This is the kicker that has exposed Salafi publications as being completely and utterly partisan to Sheikh Rabi ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, and has exposed the fact that their tarbiyah, or how they nurture their audiences, is not upon Da'wat al-Salafiyah, but rather it is upon Sufism, as relates to how they deal with their figures of authority. In other words, because of the fact that they see that Sheikh Rabi's speech is immune from any criticism whatsoever. And you will hear the speech of Abu Khadeejah when it is that I read it. Listen to what he said. The only one who can say that Sheikh Rabi hasn't taken the mawqif as-sahih, or the correct stance in this issue, does not know Sheikh Rabi, or he has something wrong with his heart, or he has something wrong with his heart. In other words, you have a disease. If you conflict Sheikh Rabi,